What is up, Honey Badger Nation? This is John Kitchens, and welcome to episode 145 of Expert Mentors Live. I'm really excited for today's episode. We've got some really dear friends of mine that I've had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with over the years, and knowing their story, and they have so much value to share. And I'm really looking forward to today's conversation. Growing through challenges with Steve and Kelly McCarthy. What's up?
What up?
Oh man, I really appreciate you guys making the time, jumping in. I know both of you are full throttle right now, but definitely looking forward to our conversation today.
For sure, we are too. Say
hello to the Honey Badger Nation.
What's up, Honey Badgers?
Guys.
The nation, the best nation.
The nation. That is for sure. So for everybody listening in, I mean, you guys are some OGs, day one Honey Badgers, and also, spending time with us, with NAEA and the mastermind events, and, us being able to travel and spend a lot of time together. But, there's a lot of Honey Badgers out there. I looked this morning. I mean, we're over 7,500 in the Facebook group. So unbelievable. I would love for you guys, take 2 minutes and just kind of give a little background about yourselves.
Yeah, sure. So we're in a really small town. It sounds like probably from where y'all came from, like Lawton. We're from Yuba City, California. If you've never heard of that, that's okay. We are north of Sacramento, about 30 minutes or so. It's an agricultural community, a lot of farming. Kelly was a professional cow tipper. But yeah, so not a roaring metropolis, to say the least. But it's a town we love. It's been really, really good to us. And we're both ex-mailman, woman, and we went into real estate as investors, thinking that if we got a license, we would get in front of all the deals first and everything. We were going to get rich. The internet said, no money necessary, just build an empire. But we actually got into the sales side to make money for buying rentals and flips, and we just absolutely loved it. We loved sales and we have different lanes in the business. Like John's helped us with that a lot. Otherwise, we probably would have killed each other. But so real estate has been our best thing, and the reason we are connected with John Kitchens and Jay Kinder is because in our market, the top producer back when we started sold like
52 homes.
Boy, wow, numbers. I love it. But we didn't have
that's a chip that she's been wearing right here. She ain't forgot that.
She knows that, by the way.
Yeah. But we were seeking, somebody to look up to, somebody to learn from, and then we found Jay Kinder online, and then we've just been plugged in any way we could from that moment on.
Yep. And somehow you guys let us in.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys wanted in.
This can I share the story real fast about
Absolutely.
How we went?
Heck yes.
We went to EGS, which is
so
amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'd never been to an event before, real estate related.
We were brand new agents too. Like we hadn't been in very long at all.
So that Jay is got a mastermind that we could be part of. But there was like requirements to it. You had to sell so many houses, and that wasn't us. So, but what we did have is we had like almost $100,000 a month. So when they were talking to us about qualifications, I'm like, well, yeah, let's not look at what we've done in the past. Let's look at what we're
going forward.
Where we're at right now qualified us if we, turn that into 12 months, basically. Yep. And they were like, we sold them on it. Like the lady at the front desk, and what was her name? Because we knew her after that for a long time. I don't remember at this point, but she was like, just go up there and ask them. And we're like, really?
So if you would I was so nervous. We're about to meet a celebrity in my eyes. This is who we wanted to be was, Jay Kinder, Michael Reese. So we go take this long elevator ride up, and I swear, John, I think you were in the elevator, but we didn't know you. We go up to the penthouse, and we go around this room, and everybody's talking about their production. They're like, oh, I sell 2 million houses, 4 million houses, 700 houses. And they're like, and I'm like, well, we sold like 6. No,
it was
30, but most intimidating room. And we were asking some questions amongst ourselves. And there's this good looking man behind us that's answering some of the questions. And it's John freaking Kitchens. Best day ever, man. It totally changed our life being around you guys.
Yeah, it did. Like, we totally contribute you guys to where we are now. Like, I don't think if we would have found you guys, like, we would be here. You guys totally, like, changed our entire mindset of what we could be. If we would have stayed with the people who were local and just learned from them, there was a lid on that we wouldn't have been able to surpass. But you guys helped us get where we are today.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I mean, you know, you guys had to make the decisions too, right? And put in the work. And, you know, I like to look at it that, you know, it's commitment, but then there's a little more that goes with it, right? It just can't be commitment. Commitment starts the process, but you also have to have the courage to go through the journey. And once you have that courage to develop the skill set, the mindset, the changing your beliefs, then now confidence in the outcomes really start to come. You guys made the commitment, but you also had the courage to work through that process. And so that is, you know, applaud you for that, and definitely a role model for a lot of people out there to model, you know, understanding, making decisions, having the blind faith, the courage to just kind of trust the process, and, you know, bring you guys to where you're at, and super excited, you know, where you're going to go. I know we want to talk about challenges, you know, kind of the theme and the flow of today's conversation, but also I want to unpack a little bit on how you guys made decisions early on, right? You're both, you know, in the Postal Service, you've got a potential career that you can retire from, that you can, you know, things that you could do, a safety net, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you go from a safety net to complete uncertainty? How do you go and make that decision?
Can I? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
So that is such, I want to talk about this really bad because this will really help somebody. So I had safety, I had security in the post office, but what did that really mean? So I'm watching people at the post office that were retiring, and I'm hearing that, you know, you listen to words, people's words leave clues, and they're saying, "Well, I'm buying my last new Honda Accord because I'm going to retire and I'll never be able to buy a new car again." And I'm like, wow. You know, like I'm 19 years into this company so that I can buy a new Honda Accord. Goodness, you know. But as I spent time around all this, they all had that same dream for their life. You know, and there's nothing wrong with it. You know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But it wasn't where I wanted to be. Like I'm still dumb enough to think I can have helicopters and shit. Like, you know, like I did not want a brand new Honda Accord. So what became true was that I can never have the things that I wanted my life to be where I was. Like it just doesn't play out right that I'm going to work real hard, put 10% away, save it, draw off this magical retirement while inflation's going up. You know, like when I really sat down and looked at it, I'm like, if I retire, my retirement is what it's looking like it's going to be. I might be able to pay for my medications when I'm old. Like, not good. So this guy, man, he gave me a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? And I read that. Walt Wood. And it was first exposure to, you know, there's another way you can actually have more. To me, growing up in this town, $65,000 a year wasn't like a bad living. Like I had a nice home. I did better than a lot of my friends and everything else, but that was my first exposure to, you know, what's possible for me. And I was lucky. I was dumb enough to believe I could have it all.
So what's in that thinking to where, you know, needs are met, right? 65, 70,000 a year, needs can be met. What just shift was it the book? Was it, you know, just open to new possibilities? Was it just seeing things differently? Was it wanting more? Like what was it for you? And then Kelly, I would love your perspective because you guys were kind of separate lanes you were running, and then, you know, the coming together, and then, you know, making the leap. So I'd love to hear kind of what that was.
I would love to tell you about it. So we did both for 3 years. We were in real estate and we delivered mail all day. Like we worked 6 days a week, 60 hours a week in doing mail. And then we did real estate kind of like I was able to really do real estate while I was doing my job because my job, I was a rural carrier, which is a little bit different than him walking everywhere and doing city routes. So I could kind of do both while I was there. I would actually, well, I probably shouldn't say that, but I would sometimes deviate a little from my route and do what I needed to do. But
I know other postal workers. Yeah, you can deviate from a lot of things. Yes, I know. Go ahead.
And then we'd work all night and we'd work weekends and we just worked a lot. And then we started getting really good at real estate and we're like, this is it's a lot funner. I mean, we used to enjoy our job at the post office, but then when we started making actual money, we're like, this is funner and it's actually easier than working really, really hard, all this time every day for somebody else. So we tossed it around. Our broker at the time was really like, you guys have a lot of potential. What are you guys doing still at the post office? And I would be like, we need benefits and all these things that you hear growing up that is crucial that you have to have. We had a ton of excuses. Yeah,
because this is good. Tell him because this man wanted to help us, and we thought he was an idiot.
We would be like, we have bills. What do you mean quit the post office? Like we have to have a steady income. Especially me, I was bad, and I think most women really want the security for their family. Even though we were doing really good, at that point in our business, it wasn't a for sure thing yet.
You weren't sold.
I wasn't completely sold on it. So. I got pregnant with our son, Maddox.
I did all the work.
And I worked until a month before I had him. And then he was born and everything was great. And I was, raising an infant and I was doing real estate and it was like my dream life. I'm like, this is so much better. Like, what was I doing? And so I think we kind of decided that I wasn't going to be going back at that point. And we were doing really good by then because I wasn't being held down by the post office for 60 hours a week. And our plan was to have him stay in the post office for at least another year because of the benefits and everything that we needed, right? And so he was on paternity leave from the post office for a while, and he went back for like 2 months or so. And then he said he had a vacation.
I did.
So I was like, okay, he's on vacation, and he's been there 19 years, so he got quite a bit of vacation. 2 weeks goes by and I'm like, when is he going to go back to work? This is weird. 3 weeks go by and I finally just ask him, I'm like, when is your vacation over? And he's like, yeah, so about that, I actually retired. I'm not going back. I had no idea. Like he's 3 weeks into what I think of vacation. He's actually 3 weeks ago quit his job without telling me.
You were on a need to know
It wasn't
basis.
a family decision he'd made. But obviously it was the best decision he made for us. It was just something he had to do. And it was, obviously it was the best thing to do. But at the time, I was pretty mad about it because I felt like I should have been involved in that decision. But that's what we needed. We needed to just break off. And sometimes it's just you have to take a leap of faith and just do it, and look back. Burn the boat.
I love that. One of the things, just kind of as you guys were kind of sharing and, the work and the side hustle, like where the heck does that work ethic come from for both of you?
Yeah,
that is just me. If I'm not working all the time, I don't know where it comes from.
I know.
If I'm not working all the time, I almost feel guilty. Like if I'm not hustling at my hardest, I feel guilty. I don't know what it is in me that makes me feel that way, but I don't like to not be busy. It's just not my thing.
And that'll help workaholics. I'm not. I'm very lazy. I don't want to work all the time. But what I really wanted was not to be stuck. Like that job felt like an anchor. It was just closing in on me. I felt like a failure. Like I'm never really going to get where I want to be. So it was more painful to not do something about it for me. I wanted more, and no matter what it took. So I was willing to work back then really hard to try to create just the opportunity to have something bigger.
Yeah, I see it all the time. And, I'm thinking, back in our hometown, we have one of the largest Goodyear tire manufacturing plants in the country. And, that was like, hey man, you got to get a job at Goodyear, and it's like, seeing the people that go through there, and you just said that, right? It felt like, it was like you were stuck. And I've seen a lot of people there, and I've seen a lot of people get away from there and do really big things because I think they felt the same way, right? Felt being stuck. So when you guys made that decision, right, made that jump, what were some of the biggest challenges of letting go of that post office monkey bar and really just hanging on two hands with the real estate side of things? What were some of the biggest challenges that you guys encountered making that move?
The only challenges back then, now that, we're looking at from a different perspective, was all in our head. Can we make it? Can we make this thing happen? Is it sustainable? What if the market crashes? All the stories from the outside coming in became, real fears for us. And getting through, we had to prove it to ourselves at different times.
Yeah.
Like I was sold pretty fast. It only took a couple, $10,000 checks. And I'm like, I can't do this fighting dogs every day anymore. But it took longer for her. And it didn't matter how successful we are in real estate. If I'm going to lose the marriage over, taking a risk, it's not worth it. And that we spent 3 years in that, convincing, Kelly that this is what we're meant to do. This is something that we can actually make happen.
And for me,
what was that?
It was just, I was used to having multiple jobs. Before I met Steve, I was a single mom. I had a bunch of kids to take care of on my own. And I had 2 to 3 jobs at a time, and I worked a ton. And so I felt like, to make a living like we want to, we needed to be doing multiple things. We couldn't just stick with one thing. I mean, now I know obviously all of our heart and soul goes into this, and that's why we do so well. But at that point in my life, I didn't understand it. Like if I didn't have multiple things happening and going, like I said, it's almost like I felt guilty about not working hard enough and having multiple streams of income coming in different ways to support my family. Sure.
And just everybody listening in, just to kind of unpack a little bit what Kelly just shared, is that, circumstance drives our thinking, right? And so the circumstance that you were in was what was forcing that thinking that shit, I'm survive. I've got, people depending upon me. Like I have to always be working to trade time for dollars. And that's essentially, you get into stuck is because you are trading time for dollars instead of, in an opportunity that you get rewarded for results. And that's really what real estate is, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can get the same result in 2 hours, or you can get the same result in 10. Just what are you choosing, to allocate and spend your time to get that result, and not having to always trade time for dollars. But that was your circumstance. And so that's all you knew at that time. So that can be a huge challenge to overcome. And so where was it for you, Kelly, specifically, that, that circumstance started to change to where you started to have a different thinking, and our beliefs are just a collection of our thoughts. So where did those thoughts and that belief go back to your circumstance? Where did that really start to change for you, to where you didn't have to be, 3-4 part-time jobs and doing everything, to really just being able to kind of focus on, one bigger opportunity?
Yeah. I mean, I started realizing it right away after we took the time that we had been allocating to somebody else's business and put it into our own. Mm-hmm. And we had steady business. I mean, it was obvious to me, like I had a whole mind shift change about the whole thing. And we try to teach our agents it as well. It's like, yeah, you go to a job for 8 hours a day, but if you took that 8 hours that you spend for somebody else's dreams and you put it into your own, where could you be in your business? And that changes everything. And that's kind of what happened, is like, I started realizing it when before I wasn't comfortable in it because we weren't putting the amount of time and effort that we needed into that business. But once we had the time and we were able to dedicate it all towards our business, then it just changed our business completely. And I realized that that's what we were supposed to be doing. We were great at it. This is what we were supposed to be doing. And if we would have been doing that the whole time, we could have left sooner. It was just hard for me to see at the time. So it was just a complete mind shift and change in our business once we had the time free. Right?
Amen. Yep.
Yeah, I love that. So getting in, letting go, fully committed, focused on real estate, getting things going. I mean, you guys, the market conditions, I mean, just, the fire that wiped out, almost all of your market. You guys have had a lot of challenges, over the last several years. Mm-hmm. What's been kind of that guiding light that's kept moving forward, and hey, we've got another obstacle, we got another challenge? What's kind of the process that when you guys encounter something like that you start to work through it?
I think Ryan Stewman says it best. Like, with that whole what does he call it? The
force of average.
Average, yes. When things are going great, all of a sudden you hit some kind of obstacle, and like you have to recognize it. Like, okay, this is me trying to break through to that next level, or this is me, I need to retreat. I need to pull back because, things just got real bad. Well, each one of those obstacles that comes, I'll tell you, the first one came when we were crushing it in real estate. Like we were rich at $60,000 a year, two of us combined in this little town. Oh, like we're doing good. We're in real estate, and all of a sudden we must have been making $400,000-$500,000. Like that to us at that time, growing that fast, we were living our absolute best life. It was like having a money printing machine. Like if I worked 3.5 hours prospecting, I could generate $9,000, right? It was amazing. But there came a time after we're having all this success that it stopped working. Like, escrows were closing, and you were there, John, like you remember, but the escrows were closing, but we weren't opening new escrows. Like, talk about, like, I was so scared. I was on the phones and I couldn't generate any business. No matter what I did, the same thing that was like to me.
Yeah, explain to everybody what changed.
Oh, okay. So what changed was first of all, I wasn't consistent. We all know if you're not consistently generating business, you're going to be on the roller coaster, right? Yeah. Well, we let it go too far. We were busy, and we let that be in the way instead of
reacting.
There you go. Yeah. So what changed was when I was on those phones, that same process I would use to generate business, I was different because I was starting to feel desperate. A month went by without me closing a transaction when we're used to producing at a pretty high volume, and then a second month, like, what am I going to do? What used to work for me, what was guaranteed, what was true, no longer is working. So I had to go through that. I had to, even in desperation, when I was on the phones, I was a desperate man trying to force it to happen. And the market felt that. They're like, I'm not, I don't need this from you. But right. When I step back and say, okay, so it's in my conversations, it's in my mindset. I got to get back to that place where, it doesn't matter the outcome of the prospecting. I just have to go back and genuinely try to find solutions that buyers or sellers are having and provide value to them. Then we were able to get back on track. But that was probably one of the scariest times. I've never felt like a bigger failure. I didn't know how I was going to provide for the family or anything, and questioned everything that we'd ever done.
So that, just having that self-awareness, that self-realization, and, being able to, I think you gave the best example there, being able to disengage and step back, right? Jocko talks about that a lot in a lot of his conversations in his trainings. When you're engaged, you can't see the opportunity. And so you've got to step back and disengage for a second to be able to look at where are all of our opportunities. And then you're able to plan, a better attack. And so I think, recognizing those obstacles, then that gives us the opportunity to, like you said, grow from there and take that next step, knowing that the force of average is right around the corner. Right. Using Stewman's analogy, his kind of his concept there, knowing that it's just around the corner. Here it comes. We know it's coming. And so if we know challenges and obstacles are coming, how do the two of you stay, best prepared for that? I think this is good, for everybody listening in. Hey, we know that shit's coming. Here's how we're going to deal with it when it comes, or the mindset that we have, even knowing that it's.
I think we lost him for a second there.
Got me back?
Yep, got you back.
Okay.
So this is how we stay on top of it now. Like we and you were instrumental in this, but we recognize when the other person is in a challenge. And now we have permission to call each other out on it and say, here's what you need to do, Steve. You need to get back to A, B, and C, and I'm going to hold you accountable for it. But we had to have permission for that to happen. And you definitely know that. But so now, instead of being sensitive about her saying, you're not doing your job, before I would have been like, well, you suck as a human. So there you go. Now
that's the PD version.
Yeah. But now she has full permission to tell me, you're off track. I need you back on track because here it comes. We're about to be in the weeds right now, and we need to work together. So, and we are now on the same page, and we have permissions. So it's okay. So this right here is a support system. Maybe you're not married and you need an accountability partner. You definitely need a coach. Somebody to recognize when the obstacles are there and help you stay on the path of pushing through them.
And we have this thing we say to each other. So like when one of us is complaining, like, oh, I can't get this right, or I don't want to do that, or whatever, we'll be like, well, that sucks. Now what? Like, that's always our thing. Now what? And that's what we'll even tell our agents. Okay, well, yeah, that's happening. Now what? Like, there's always, you just have to work through it. Like there's going to be problems that come up. Now what? And that's kind of our little insight.
Yep. I absolutely love that. And there's a couple things there that I think are really principle based that are key for everybody listening in, is that, having somebody that has permission to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And knowing that they're coming from a place of love. And so we all have blind spots. Every one of us do. And so if you've got, and this is the power of partnerships, and, permission to not use it as a weapon, right? One of NAEA's core values has been, open and real communication. That's good as long as you have permission. Mm-hmm. It's a weapon when you use it and then say, oh, I'm just being open and real. No, you're not. You're being a douchebag. So if you have permission, and then you can give some of that, kind, tough love, because your partner or the other person wants to be better, and that's how it works. It doesn't work, and I've seen it. I mean, I saw it in the NAEA environment. I saw it time after time. These douchebags would just come at somebody and then just say, dude, I'm just being open and real. And I would just sit there and listen. I'd look at them. I'd be like, dude, you're just a douchebag. That's all you are. You're not helping. And so, because what happens is that we shut down if we don't get permission first, right? It's the same thing that we talk about with agent attraction. You cannot have a conversation unless the gate of the mind is open. Yes. So what are you doing to open their mind? And that's how it works in partnership. One of the things, and it's been fun. I've been able to, I had the Sotos on Expert Mentors last week. I had the Meltons on Coffee and Coaching last week. So I've had some just great couples on, the last few episodes. And one of the things that I would love to hear from the two of you, I know it's not, white picket fence and fairy tale all the time in the partnership world, and especially in the family and even in the husband and wife dynamic. I would love, for you guys to kind of unpack how you guys make it work, right? What are some of the key things that you would, say, hey, trials, tribulations, failures, successes. If you have your significant other, you're working together, here are some of the musts that you guys always to have, at least for the two of you that you found that works really well for you guys to thrive and continue to keep growing.
Submission and obedience.
No, I think that a lot of it was, one, you have to really like each other, because there's no way you can work with somebody. I mean, I know there's a lot of married people that don't actually like each other, and that you should not work together. Like, you just shouldn't. So we actually like and enjoy each other's company, thank goodness, because we wouldn't be here like in the same business together. And a lot of people are like, I could never work with my husband or wife. And I'm like, you shouldn't then, because if you already know you're not going to, like, just don't even go. The other thing is just being, like, remembering that you're on the same team. That was huge for us, especially him. Like, you would be like, you need to hold Steve accountable. And I'd be like, I'm not holding him accountable. He's going to get so mad at me if I do that. But, like, we're just reminding him that, hey, like, we have the same goal. We're moving towards this together. I'm doing this out of love so that we can grow, and we're both on the same team is crucial.
Mm-hmm. Identifying the roles and responsibilities was big.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that, hey, this is my strength. This is where I'm going to run. I need permission to be in charge of it. We give input to each other and we support each other. But somebody's got to be able to make the decision, the call, and move fast in their own lane. I try not to touch what she's great at, and she lets me run with the areas that I'm stronger in. She has a lot more than I do, but hey, it is what it is.
She has the important stuff.
But to be able to do that too, you have to understand your partner's language. The way she communicates with me is not how I communicate with her. And she says things to me in a way that she needs to hear it. And sometimes I have a habit of saying things the way I would want to hear it. And it doesn't always work unless you really understand what your partner is trying to get across to you, and know without a doubt that they're coming to you from a place of love. Like they want to grow with you. It's just their words are different than you want to hear them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a lot easier now where we're at than where we were, because you just have to kind of grow and roll along with it and learn each other better. And we know each other really well because we're together all the time, but we have completely separate roles, and I have to trust him in his decisions on his part, and he has to trust me in my decisions on my part. And we don't really question each other because that's our roles, and we just run side by side.
It's so bad. Grant Cardone, like, we're big Grant Cardone fans. So Grant calls me, we're in the car, and he calls me, hey, Steve, blah, 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 blah. Well, I know if Grant's on the phone, he wants my money, right?
Because you got his money. He wants it.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to Grant. Like, I was excited.
I'm in charge of money.
But I say, Grant, and this is recorded. It's funny to watch because he was blown away. He didn't know what to do. This probably never happened to him before. I'm all, Grant, I don't make decisions. I'm going to give you over to my wife. She's a big fan. There you go.
She's on the video, and he's like,
what just happened?
Did I just get handed off? That does not happen to me ever.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so good. I think a couple things in there that you guys said that'll be really helpful for the partnership, husband and wife specifically, working together, trying to figure it out. Knowing that, and you guys mentioned it both, right? Knowing your lane for the business right now. Just because you're in that lane doesn't mean that it's going to be that way forever.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge, right? Because sometimes we go in and like, shit, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, because that's what you start thinking. Like, I'm going to do this from now on. No, you're not in the Postal Service. The job is going to change as the company changes. Yeah. And as the company grows, shed things off of your plate, you're doing less, and you're focused on the things that are important in the business right now. I would also, and you said another thing, right? Knowing what you're good at. And just because you think you're good at something, somebody else might see or have a different take on it. So getting that feedback is absolutely critical, right? Asking 10 people that will tell you what you need to hear, and just ask them, say, hey man, what do you think I'm really, really good at? And what do you think I suck at that I should never do? And then that helps. Okay, hey, I'm really good, and I really like doing this. Then it's like, okay, then why don't we do more of that? Why don't we spend more time there? The other thing that I would also recommend is getting, and you guys should, if you guys haven't taken this, is take some of the personality assessments. Colby is probably one of the best ones. So it's KOLBE.com. Take the Colby A as in apple. And what that does is that there's 3 parts kind of our brain. The Colby focuses on how we take action. And what you can do is you can take it and then you can run an assessment with your spouse, with your significant other, and it'll show you in their 4 buckets where you have high contact, where there's a potential where you're going to have high conflict. And so now you know how to handle certain decisions and actions. And so this was like really, really key for Holly and I, because, I am more plan, dead, however, kind of got to work. Well, give Holly a deadline. She might not do shit for, 2 weeks leading up to it, but the last 6 hours before the deadline, she's going to crush it. But I can't have a conversation. What are you doing? Why are you not working on it? Because that'll cause the conflict.
Yes.
But now I know how she takes action. I'm just like, cool, here's the deadline. I know what she's going to do. And then what I can do, because I know that, is that she's going to be exhausted after she gets that project done.
Yep.
So then now I can say, cool, I need to get her to a beach. I need to get her decompress, right? So she can recover from that. But if you don't understand how, we're all different and how we take different action, it's going to cause conflict. But if you have those assessments and you get that data, then the other thing you said, hey, know each other's language. I would say, take the love language test and know each other's love language. So you know how to, and I think there's a love language for work as well. So, love language for couples and then love language for work. And so understanding hers, she understands mine. It just helps in the communication, and it just allows us to work together instead of just that conflict. And just because, it's the way I do it, you should do it. That's just not true.
And somebody's watching this right now that probably thinks what we're talking about isn't a critical piece. And that is such a mistake. Like this, learning this, what you're talking about, even taking the test, understanding how to speak to each other, understanding how to work together, it impacts your home. Like we are a stronger married couple right now because of the things that we've grown through in business. Our business, when we're on the same page, we can run fast and hard. But when we're not, we don't do anything. Because
we're just defeated.
Yeah. And we're not happy.
We don't feel like we're on the same page. If you don't feel like you're on the same page with your partner, you're not going to try to even work forward, because what's the point,
Right.
You got to push through it. And we don't think it doesn't still happen where our lanes are starting to divide. We got different goals, and a good thing, like we just split up. Like Kelly is now focused more on her happy spot. She wants to do high end.
I love that. I'm so glad we came to that conclusion.
Yes. And I love helping the agents. Like if I can help somebody that's struggling, and because when you're struggling, you're so desperate and you're approaching things wrong. And I know it because of that challenge that I had, where I was desperate on the phones. If I can step back and I can see what an agent's going through, I've been through it, so I can help them get there. So I love working with the agents. I love the agent attraction part of it. It's so fun to take somebody out of their crappy situation at the other brokerage where they think that they're happy there. They think it's because they made that decision, right? They're at the best brokerage in the world, and the internet told them so. So when I can plug them out and show them the experience of EXP and working with us and with Jay and with Cliff Freeman, you can just see excitement and passion back in them.
It is. And I loved everything you said right there. And I've had a big shift, and I've got a note here that I just want to kind of share. And is that we were so rigid into kind of some of the thinking, some of the industrial age thinking, and how we design and run our businesses. And we've kind of have formed that belief that, the only goal in business is a profit. And just a subtle shift in my thinking here recently is that the profit is just an outcome, but it's not the goal. And so everybody's goal is different. Everybody's goal for their business is different. Now, the outcome, the byproduct is a profit, but that's not the goal. And so the heart of our business resides in its people. And so everything is in business is people. And, we have the concept, there are no business problems. There's only leadership problems. Mm-hmm. And that starts with us, right? And if we can't be the best that we can be, how in the heck can we expect the rest of the organization and our people to be that way as well? And I've seen it in you guys. I just have had the opportunity, for so many years to know you and being able to work with you guys, to be able to see that growth as both of you as leaders. And where I've seen the growth, and this is key for everybody listening in, is getting and doing things that you really love doing. Mm-hmm. And that's what you were just sharing, Steve, right? Kelly loves working with the high-end clients. I mean, she just has a knack, an ability to work with high-end properties, high-end clientele. And you just love people, and you love growing and developing and talking to people. And when you uncover what you really love and what you're good at, it's like, how can we do more of it? How can we get you guys to do more of that and less of everything else?
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yep. So you guys have had a lot of tremendous growth, a lot of great changes, obviously coming together, amazing little boy. We share one of the best wedding locations ever, right? On the planet.
Yes.
I can't wait. I don't know how long you guys haven't been there, but Lindquist Beach is one of the most beautiful spots on the planet. And so what's most important to the two of you right now?
To me, it's growing the organization, because like you said, the outcome is a profit. For us, it's the freedom, right? And we want to do what we're doing right now forever. I can't imagine doing something else, but I don't want to have to do it. I want the financial freedom. So every time that it's not, we had our biggest week last week before.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. It was $130,000 we made in a week, which is like great. But our revenue share check is like so small compared to that. But when that grew, we're like, woo, high five, because that means something.
I know the feeling.
That's our focus right now is growing that and doing what we love. We want, like you said, we want to do more of what we love. I want to help people, and she wants to. Well, don't let her fool you. She's loving the helping the people too.
Uh-huh.
But she wants to do more of the high end stuff.
Is that what's most important to you right now, Kelly?
Yeah, I mean, that's my happy place. Obviously, our goal is to grow the organization more, and I get that, but it's not, and I like doing it. I like teaching more of the logical part, where I'm teaching them how the ins and outs of real estate, and he's more of the person who's inspiring them and helping them through their personal issues, which
rah.
Yeah, I call it as rah because it so doesn't interest me at all. But I know most people are his personality, and that really appeals to most people. It just doesn't appeal to me because I have a completely different personality than that. I'm self-driven and self-motivated. So to me, all that get out and get them stuff is like, what? Why? But I get that they need it, and that's super important. And he's really great at helping people with their mindset and things like that, where I enjoy helping them more with like the contracts and getting them through the problems of real estate, dealing with other agents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I told this, and I saw this in the Meltons, and I definitely see the trade in the two of you. And I think this is really key. What you said, right? You have to really like each other, but I think there also has to be some playfulness and some humor. And you guys have a lot of that, right? And so I think that's another key trait in successful husband and wife partnerships, significant other partnerships, that there is a sense of playfulness, and there's a sense of humor, and not not taking it so serious, right? And just having fun. So I definitely wanted to share that with you guys. I see that in them. I see it in you. I've seen it in other really successful, couples that work together, is that there is some humor and playfulness. What's that?
We're still having fun.
That's it, man. That's it. It's got to be fun. It's got to be fun. What is there? As we're kind of wrapping up here, is there anything that we haven't touched on that you want to make sure we chat about before we jump?
Yeah. Well, honestly, you and Kelly think alike. So when I put out Growing Through Challenges, I prepared to help people today by using challenges, 90-day challenges, 30-day challenges. And Kelly heard the same thing that you did when you prepared to interview us today. And I thought, well, that's a good, thing to come together. So we kind of, prepared some things, but we've been really leveraging challenges. You helped us with the team one, developing features and stuff like that. So I just really believe in the challenges. We've done some 10 listings in 10 days, getting out there and really challenging yourself to change those daily habits that you have wrong.
How do you structure that? So let's unpack this for a little bit, because I think this is can be fun, right? Is that kind of the key to the challenges? Hey, make sure they're fun. Make sure they're fun. Make sure you're clear on the outcome. What are we really trying to accomplish? When what do we need to change? What daily habits do we need to get rid of, or which daily habits do we need to instill in our business daily? And I know you go through this because you went from 5Ks to now you're world champion Ironman. So, I have 2 rules, right? My coach gave me 2 rules. 1, don't die. Number 2, you finish. You cross the finish line. That's it. I got 2 rules. I was like, all right, cool. I can follow that.
Easy enough. But we like to, first of all, have a clear objective. If it's
and it's usually something where if somebody's struggling in something, or quite a few people on the team are struggling on something, we take that and make a challenge out of it, and it kind of helps the whole group move them past it, and it helps them, each person, grow individually as well. And then we make sure that we have a reward at the end, which kind of helps incentivize and make it fun
and gamify.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to accomplish is we're trying to break through the belief lid, and then raise their standard. So sometimes for an agent, they've never made $10,000 in a month, right? So we're creating a challenge that will challenge them to get there, so that they have a new standard to live by. And then we're doing it with ourselves, and it's gotten us out of all the growing challenges that we face. We've in some way planted in a challenge to get some immediate action sparked off. We made it a game, and then now we're trying to get a weight loss. Like the 75 hards or whatever. I think those are great. Yeah. Whatever struggle you're facing, if you make a game out of it, put some rules behind it, have a public declaration, this is what we're doing, even if it's just with your own group or, to the world, that this is what I'm committed to. This is when it's going to be done by. And we've even went as far as to video record our activities. People are saying, oh, you could get listings. Okay. So what we do is we say, okay, yeah, we can get listings because of our database or whatever. We're going to get rid of all that. We're going to do exactly with the tools that you have. We're going to do it for free. I'm going to use nothing but Google, and search, and my phone. And I'm going to record me doing it, so you can watch that for no money, no nothing. I can create 10 listings out of the air. And then people can see it. And then now they have something to say, well, I'm going to take part in it too. I'm going to get one, and then as a unit, we can all, challenge each other, hold each other accountable, and move forward in the direction we need to go.
Love that. And you nailed it, right? It's creating the discipline and the consistency, the success habits that will continue to, change, get the results that we're after.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. So cool. Yeah, I love it. And I think they, do you give kind of an outcome, but do you allow them to be kind of creative during the challenge to get there?
Yeah, it's got to be their way. It's got to be their goals. And all that we insist on is that you've got to have challenged yourself a little bit. If you've never done more than 3 escrows, let's go for it, right? It doesn't have to be huge, but let's break through the belief lid that I'm only capable of 3, and let's set a little higher of a standard so that you're capable of 4. Then we'll deal with 5.
Yeah. I love that. You're creating an environment that, is rewarding growth. That is growing their thinking first and foremost, right? That's where you have the greatest impact, is being a leader and creating an environment that really challenges people's mindset and their thinking and their beliefs. Because when that changes, it changes everything.
That's what we want to do for everybody.
Yeah.
We can do it for ourselves.
We'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. I was really looking forward to today's conversation. I know a lot of value, getting some love in the comments. And so definitely great stuff, and cannot thank you guys enough.
Oh, always a pleasure, man. We love anytime we get to talk to you. So coming on today, if we can do something to help you, let us know.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you both. And so for everybody listening in, make sure you give Steve and Kelly lots of love. If something really resonated with you, please share. It's one of the greatest gifts that we can do, is when we're impacted by somebody or something, is don't wait, reach out. I heard Gary Vee made a comment the other day, and it was about Kobe. And he said, I was of the belief that I would meet the people that I look up to and respect. It would just happen. And he said, then what happened to Kobe? He was like, I don't wait for that anymore. If somebody inspires me, if somebody really resonates, I reach out immediately. I don't wait and say, I'll just see him at the next event. And it was really a really powerful message. And so definitely, if somebody resonated with something in this conversation, please reach out. Let Steve and Kelly know. It's really powerful.
Awesome. Thanks, John.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Appreciate y'all.
Bye.
Yeah.